What's up, Vape fam? Sorteal here, and welcome to the Vaporworks Lab. Oh shit, I said Vaporworks Lab and not Hitchhiker's Guide to the Vaporverse. You know what that means. It's time for a review. What we're going to take a look at today is the Pandemic 30mm from Unicorn Vapes. Now, this thing recently came out. It comes in just about every damn color in the rainbow, from purple to pink to blue to green, orange, of course. Now, I've already built this thing up on a live stream, so I'll link to that live stream down in the comments. There'll also be something up over here somewhere where you can click on it and go directly to it. I will also have timestamps on the live stream so you can get directly to the build of this. What we're going to do today is we're going to dive down, take a look at it. We will re-wick it and come back up, vape on it, and I'll tell you guys what I think. So let's dive on over. All right. This is the package that your Pandemic will come in, similar to most other Unicorn Vapes RDAs and RTAs. Just a simple cloth bag. Mine has gotten pretty dirty because I just kind of have it sitting around. All right, here is the Pandemic 30mm. And serial number. You're already dead inside. I kind of like that. I like kind of the ruler type of deal going on the top and bottom too. This side you got the Pandemic logo, so it's Pandemic with the skull. That is the drip tip that comes with it. Take this off, show you the deck a little bit. There's the coils we installed on the live build stream. Like I said, you can click over there and see this thing built up. It is pretty simple to build. It looks like it's tailor-made for some series coils, but given the airflow is relatively small, I'm not so sure how well it would work with actual series coils. So I have not tested that out yet, but I definitely want to try here in the near future. I think it might be okay, but just that smaller airflow, I'm not entirely sure about it. I really dig the deck design. It's very similar to the Pandemic 26 and the Pandemic 28. So it's simple, just drop your coils in, clamp them down, and straighten them up. You're ready to pulse and pinch. Take a look at the bottom here. On the bottom, it says Pandemic 30, Unicorn Vapes logo right there. Usual warnings kind of etched in there. Your 510 pin is plenty hybrid mechanical mod safe. Now this is all maybe Delrin of some type. I'm not real sure, but it's definitely a plastic, I'm pretty sure. So you have this other screw right here. This is going to your positive post. So your 510 obviously is going to your negative post. This is holding your positive post in. One thing I will say, when I got mine in, and you'll see it on the live build, it was kind of acting wonky on me. It wasn't reading the ohms correctly. I took this all the way out. I took the entire negative section over here out, kind of repositioned them all, then screwed it back down. It was still giving me issue. I didn't even think about the positive post right there. This was extremely loose. So if you get this, just check your 510 pin and your positive pin screws right here. Make sure they are both tight down. Otherwise, it will read your ohms a little wonky. And it's probably not too safe, especially if you want to stick it on a hybrid mechanical mod. Here's the deck in a little bit closer detail. They are Allen screws, and relatively big ones, so I really like that. I actually did not have an Allen driver that would fit in these, kind of because of the groove and everything else, so I had to use the Allen key they provided, but it worked just fine. Coils that I have in here are a couple of aliens. I believe they're Watofo aliens, if I remember correctly. They come out to 0.11. They're actually really nice coils. I'm pretty shocked by some of the Watofo coils I've been trying out here recently. All right, let's take a look at the top cap. So this thing has a ton of different airflow styles. You got just kind of wide open, 3 slits, 2 slits that are closer to the bottom. I like that. Then you have honeycomb. Then it's kind of blank here, and that's mainly so you can cut the honeycomb down a little bit or cut the wide open down some without just running into, the next type of airflow, be it the 3 or the 2 slits. I like it best with the honeycomb airflow cut down just a hair, basically about 1 row of the honeycomb openings there cut off. Nice dome shape on the inside. Rest of it over here. Now, one thing, and you might hear me talk about it if you watch the live build of it long enough, is it's relatively thin. The top cap is pretty damn thin. So one thing, this top cap gets pretty hot pretty quick. So if you're like me and you like to vape a lot, or you're chain vaping on this at some point, this is going to get hot on you. I think if you threw some series coils in here, it's probably going to get real hot real fast. So like I said, I haven't tested with series coils yet, but I definitely would like to try. But just be aware that, hey, this top cap's probably going to get pretty hot on you if you start vaping on it pretty heavily. Give it a little bit of time to cool down and you'll be fine. Stick this back on here. We'll wick this up. I'm going to put my cookies and pudding, which is basically an Oreo pudding recipe, on here. And we will give it a vape. All right, twist up my wick ends here. Now, the first time that I built this up on the live stream, my wicks were a little bit too much, a little too thick, a little too long. This time I'm going to try and correct that some. All right, both our wicks in there. Now, it has a relatively deep juice well, but last time I think I cut them a little bit too long, so I'm going to cut them about like that. I think that will be plenty. Thin these bad boys out just a little bit. There we go. Go ahead and juice this up. Like I said, I'm using my cookies and pudding. Recipes up on all the flavors if you want to check it out. Basically an Oreo cookie pudding. One thing I will say for this RDA is you can really dump juice in this thing and it's not even going to be mad at you. Even though the wick wells don't look, the juice wells don't look super deep, they are plenty deep, and you'll end up with quite enough wicking to soak up just about any amount of juice you want to dump down in there. All right, let's put our top cap back on. Got it about where I like it. Airflow wise. Cut down just 1 row. And we're good right there. All right, let's jump back up top. I'll vape on it and tell you guys what I think. Let's go. All right, so the mod I've got it on is the Mdura Pro. I really like the look of it with this, and it vapes extremely well. In the build session that I did for this, I stuck it on the Zero Mods 01, and it works and looks fantastic on that one. But I've also been extremely enjoying it on this mod as well. Plenty saturated, coming out to 0.11, got it at 85 watts. Let's have a vape. This thing is just a flavor machine. Vapes very good. The hit off of it's nice. The pull off of it, once I found the exact airflow that I like with this one, is just perfect. And there's so many airflow options that it's really easy to find the airflow that you like best. I've also found that I like the 2 airflow slits that are just kind of centered on the bottom. These right here. This is an extremely nice vape as well. And normally I'm not a big fan of just open slits. It's a bunch of airflow, but it still has a somewhat restrictive pull, which is what I like. Go back to honeycomb. Actually, let's do honeycomb just wide open. I haven't cut any of it down. It's still really good. I think it would actually come across as a bit more restrictive if I crank the wattage up. So let's go ahead. Let's just go ahead and crank it up to 110. Yeah, with the honeycomb wide open, if you crank the wattage up, that heat goes up and the heat kind of takes up space as far as the pull is concerned. So it becomes a bit more of a restrictive pull, even though you have the airflow at the exact same settings, just because that heat starts to take up some space. Drip a little bit more. I'm going to cut it back down to where I like it, just that one row of holes on the honeycomb cut off. That is really good. We'll go ahead and test just wide open. So it's just a single wide open hole. Too much airflow. It just feels like I'm just sucking in air. I don't get a lot of flavor that way. Try the 3 slits. A little bit better, a little bit more of a restrictive pull, but still really, really airy. I think the 2 slits that are kind of centered on the bottom, and then the honeycomb with one single row of the holes cut off, is the best airflow, at least for my taste, on this RDA. All right, so pros and cons. What do I like? What do I dislike? Well, I like just how much vapor this thing produces. As you can see, it has already cloudied up the Vaporworks lab pretty much like that. So there's a ton of vapor production, but there's also a ton of flavor there as well. As far as a 30 millimeter RDA, this rivals the Asgard 30 millimeter, which I really think is kind of the king for flavor in the larger atomizer space. But this is really, really damn close. I really enjoy this RDA overall. I love the look of it. I love just the absolute plethora of colors that this thing comes in. They really knocked it out of the park with choice on that end. I love that it comes in orange. You don't see a lot of atomizers come in orange. And the fact that this does really sold me on this right away. I knew I had to pre-order this thing up just because it came in orange. I wasn't going to wait around for it. I needed it now. Another thing that I really like about it is kind of the overall feel to it. So like when you're taking a pull, it just feels comfortable. Your lips are getting on kind of this outer portion whenever you have a low profile drip tip, but it's still pretty comfortable. Even with that kind of ruler-like etching on the top and bottom, when your lips hit that, it's not uncomfortable at all. As far as cons go, I really wish the airflow openings here were a little bit wider or maybe interchangeable so you could put new ones in there that were a little bit wider. overall, but I don't know how that would work with the top cap. But I'm kind of curious as to how well this would work with series coils in them, because they would be a lot longer. So most of your airflow is just hitting the center of that series coil, but I still think it would probably work fairly well. Another con with this one is this top cap. The top cap gets hot pretty quick. Just in the amount that I've been vaping here, it's already pretty hot. It's not so hot that I, have to immediately take my hand away, but it's definitely getting there. Drip a little bit more. Like I said, this thing will just take an absolute ton of juice. You can just puke juice down in it, and it's going to hold all of it, especially if you wick it kind of the way I did, a little bit thicker. You have all that cotton to soak up juice. And then you have relatively large juice wells to kind of keep some backup there. So yeah, aside from kind of the top cap getting a little hot and maybe not being the perfect atomizer for series coils, although I don't really know that fully, it could pull it off just outstanding, and I'm totally wrong about the airflow being too centered in on a series coil. But everything else about this I absolutely love. I love the look of it. I love the pull off of it. I love the flavor off of it, the vapor production. I think this thing is just an absolute banger. And it's one of the few 30 millimeter RDAs that I really just absolutely love. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new 30 millimeter RDA, or maybe you're just looking for a new RDA in general, you definitely cannot go wrong with the Pandemic 30 millimeter from Unicorn Vapes. It is just a flavor monster to the umpteenth degree. Vape on, and I will catch you guys in the next one.